In this video we will explore the idea that matter can come from wave energy. The idea begs the question, how can the absence of something be that something that it isn't? To have something from nothing sounds rather mystical, if not, downright nonsense. One may argue that the only time we have something seemingly come from nothing is when H2O condenses into ice, but even then, we are aware that H2O has mass that can collect to form one H2O mass conglomerate that we call ice. But what about energy? How does warmth become matter? In order to paint a possible scenario we must agree on some basics. 1. You are real, and are real enough to have a boundary layer, positioned within a bigger reality that does not incorporate your uniqueness, space. 2. Imagine yourself at center of this space, where it's even in all directions. We'll call this all that is. 3. There is no such thing as nothing. Time is change that manifests through compression waves. And finally 4. Compression waves are proof that space-time is a code that sits on a gelatinous substrate of sorts running our space-time code, virtually. Adding all these you get a gelatinous field where fluctuations occur, as a given, or constant, if you want to get super technical. Now we seem to have an environment with compression waves as a given. Now let's imagine what could happen when you have separate groups compression waves line up, add up and collide as they flow towards center. Adding up, harmonizing and with another, before colliding with another conglomerate of opposing flow. You may get the opportunity for particle hierarchy. Let me explain. Imagine opposite flowing compression waves, in this gelatinous medium, collide. Instantly finding oscillations relieve the gelatin of more incoming compression waves energy. With enough energy, it collides in such a way that symmetrical ripple constructs due to the gelatinous medium tendency to relieve incoming energy through fluctuating under pressure, as it deflects all incoming energy, in this fashion, along a 2D warp strand that overlaps numerous times, giving rise to this virtual string of warp falling to its own influence as the warp strand synchronizes along areas it overlaps, giving rise to measurable peak intervals of symmetrical compression waves we begin to identify as mass. Rather than the compression waves bouncing back out into chaos, it gets tied into a knot of warps. This tightly knit of self-affecting system of warp tension, that have some form of logical rhythms to hold form in a 3D game of life fashion. This could lead to a hierarchy of particles, in order to absorb these compression wave energy whenever they collide. Future emergence of these mysterious compression waves of the field will no longer have the clear environment it did at the onset of this cyclical phenomenon, leading to the very speculative hierarchy of particles, as momentum will be disrupted by the presence of mass particles, making the conditions for making particles in this fashion change, which would lead to a hierarchy of particles. But what is this backdrop substance?